The young man does not understand what he should do now. Working as a healer is the most worthy job of all those that an illegitimate child can claim. If he leaves the hospital, he will never be able to claim the title of healer again. Suddenly, an information window appears in front of the hero which says that he can treat people with surgery. Then a great idea appears in Raymond's head that there is an opportunity to stay in the hospital. The hero shouts to the main healer that he will prove that he can also heal people. He asks to entrust him with a patient whom he can cure. Surely his healing skills are below F rank. But with his knowledge of medicine in his head, he will be able to become a healer. Healer Langs does not believe his words. He thinks that the hero believes that treating patients is akin to a child's game. However, he says that they just have a patient who may be suitable for the hero. If he copes and successfully cures the patient, then he will not be kicked out of the clinic. After a while, the hero comes to Rankin Street. He squeezes the documents and moves to the house of his first patient, and he is also very nervous because he has never treated people before. He understands that if he fails, he will be kicked out of the hospital, which means that he will lose the chance to pass the exam for the title of a real healer. Otherwise, he will become a healer without a diploma who will not be recognized for the rest of his life, and then he will go to prison if someone reports his illegal work. Thus, there will be more vile rumors that he is an illegitimate child and even a convicted one. The hero's father will be dragged into these rumors again, saying that it is not known how much longer he will disgrace this great man. The door opens abruptly in front of the hero and he falls, scattering all the documents he has on the patient. A girl came out to him and asked who he was. But when she saw the healer's coat of arms on his scattered papers, she immediately ran to him with tears in her eyes. Suddenly, a woman came out of the house and the girl joyfully started shouting to her that a healer from the Bellin clinic had arrived. The woman can't believe her eyes that a healer has finally come to them. But the young man says that he is not a real healer. He is just a beginner. Then the woman replied that she doesn't care who he is because the main thing is to save her husband. At the clinic, they were told that they did not have enough funds to pay for expensive treatment, so she was refused and told that they would do nothing, and all she and her daughter could do now was watch her husband die. The hero examines the papers he has on the patient, and there it is indicated that he has a lesion of the gluteal zone. A man is sick with a serious illness called an abscess, which is a serious illness, and a healer of at least B rank is needed to eliminate it. Of course, the poor family has nowhere to take money to pay for such a high-level healer, and now the man's family is forced to watch him die without the opportunity to help him. Here, the hero realizes that this situation is similar to his when he was still young. One day, he came to the clinic and asked for help. With all his might, he begged for it and said that he would earn not enough money because he only needed his mother to be cured. The cry of a little girl who asks to save her father pulls out of his thoughts. The hero pulls himself together and asks to show the patient. Suddenly, a system window appears in front which says that the hero decided to help the needy free of charge, so an additional bonus in the form of 5 skill points became available to him. The hero can get points from me by completing various tasks that the system will give, and he will be able to use these points to gain the skills necessary to treat patients. Suddenly, a golden system window appears which says about the beginning of a new task. The essence of it is that Raymond must cure his first patient. The young man, after reading the last sentence, adjusts to the fact that now there will be a moment when he will be able to cure his first patient. And even if he came here so that he would not be kicked out of the clinic, but he must do everything he can to help the needy. The hero is sure that it is possible to cope because he has the necessary skills in the field of medicine to prevent serious diseases. Despite his lack of knowledge, he will be able to increase his experience by treating patients. If he treats patients, he will become an outstanding healer and gain the recognition of others. He approaches the patient who is bedridden and greets him. He suddenly feels a terrifying smell emanating from the man. Suddenly, the hero forgets what to do when meeting a patient, so he is very worried. Unexpectedly, the skill Steel Heart is activated, thanks to which the hero calms down. He asks the woman to show what is bothering the patient. She says that he has some kind of abscess on his buttocks, and instead of decreasing, it only increases every day. He also started to have a fever, and now he can't even get out of bed. The hero understands that he needs to act quickly, so first he checks his blood pressure, respiratory rate, and heart rate. Fortunately, sepsis, cyst, that is a purulent infection, has not yet begun, but we need to hurry because if the hero tries, then the patient can be saved. He says that now he needs to examine the painful place, then the woman turns her husband over and the hero sees the abscess. Using healing for such a case is extremely troublesome, but from a medical point of view it is the most common disease. The woman asks the hero if it is possible to cure her husband because the clinic said that only a high-ranking healer can cope with such a disease. But Raymond says that it is possible to cure the patient. He asks for help from a woman. He needs to boil water and then cool it down well. He also asks to prepare a sharp knife, and this phrase scares the woman very much. After the hero said that he still needed to be treated with fire, the woman asked how he was going to treat the patient. The young man replies that he is going to perform surgery. All preparations are completed and the hero is going to cut the tumor. Here the woman, frightened for her husband, grabs the young man by the hand because she does not understand why he is going to cut him. The young man replies that he is going to cure him. The woman does not understand why because healers should use healing. Raymond says he will definitely save the man. He just needs to be trusted and he will be able to laugh with their daughter again. The woman lets go of the hero's hand and begins to pray. He is sure that he should not make a mistake. The hero recalls the operation where he was with a cold head but a passionate heart. In general medical knowledge, this is the way of thinking that a real surgeon should have. With the knowledge in the field of surgery that the hero has, the operation to remove the abscess is so simple that it is difficult to name both it and the operation. He carefully brings the knife and begins to cut the painful place, letting the pus flow out. He begins to write. The girl who is standing next to him screams, worrying about her father. Raymond tries to collect his thoughts using his knowledge. First, he used a clean cloth to remove the leaking pus and then he washed the abscess with boiled sterile water and removed the remaining pus. He also uses a knife to cut off all the dead tissue from the man's body. The operation is finally completed. The part with pus has been removed. The operation is completed by treating the wound and then Raymond uses a potion made from herbs and has natural antibiotic properties. Everything is complete. The woman approaches and asks if everything went well, to which the young man replies that everything ended well and he asks to look after the patient. After a while, the man opens his eyes. The hero undertakes to check his temperature and she is completely asleep. The woman thanks the hero but does not know how to express her gratitude even more. Raymond replies that he just did what he had to. However, according to the woman, he was the only one who agreed to help. She says that she has been to many clinics. But all the healers said that her family's money would not even be enough to look at the patient, and thanks to the hero, she did not lose her husband and now her family is saved. Suddenly the girl runs to the young man and hugs him. Then he realizes that no one has ever said words of gratitude to him. It must be that the feeling he is experiencing now is joy after treating the patient. A few hours later, the hero stands in the office of the chief healer Langs and tells him that he was able to cure the patient. However, the healer does not believe him because an abscess is not a disease that can be cured by someone who is not even a B-rank healer. Healing is not an omnipotent force that cures all kinds of diseases just by putting your hand on the patient. In Liapontine, healing only increases vital energy, and vital energy gives several useful healing effects against some diseases, but it is completely useless against most of them. For purulent inflammation, which was treated by the hero, the healing force was no good and it would not have helped the patient in any way because no matter how much you increase the effectiveness, healing will be completely useless if pus is not removed inside the abscess and not only in the pus business. There will be too many problems with the Liapontine style of treatment. They don't even use this method properly because of their excessive dependence on healing. Lang says that he will go to find out everything personally. And if the hero lied, then he should be ready to pay for the lie. Calming himself, the young man was not afraid because he had done nothing wrong. Suddenly, a notification box appears in front of him indicating that he has completed the task and received orders, as well as his level has been raised and he has earned 10 skill points. Increasing the level occurs by gaining the required number of experience points. Thus, the hero increases his level, and as he increases, he can increase his characteristics. Once he reaches level 40, he will be able to raise his rank. The rank of the hero increases as the level increases, and from a novice resident, he can rise to a trained resident. Based on this, so far, the hero is a resident, but in the future, he will raise the level and become a specialist and then a professor. He understands that he will be able to level up in this way, and then he gets additional performance points for each new level. Raymond reads about additional characteristics that he can study. For example, endurance is an ability that includes general physical characteristics such as agility, muscle mass, and so on. Then endurance will be extremely useful in the treatment of patients, and there is also perception here. Perception is an ability that allows you to cunningly control the physical body. And the more sensitive the hero is, the more smoothly he will be able to perform delicate movements when treating a patient. Intelligence is used to allow the hero to rationally use the available knowledge. There is also an additional characteristic, the name of which is hidden by question marks, and it will be available after certain requirements are met. Suddenly, Langs burst into the room. He had already managed to check on a patient who had recently been treated by Raymond, but the healer decided that it was not the hero himself who cured him. Apparently, the patient was cured on his own. However, a promise is a promise, and the man agrees to give the hero a chance. After a while, they come to the medical aid station. Lang says he gives the hero 15 days to prove himself at this point, but this time he will not be able to count on his luck. To raise the level, Raymond needs to take care of patients, so it's good that he came here since this is the closest place to the emergency department where he could apply his medical knowledge. However, there is one problem, which is that all the healers around him hate him. Everyone blamed him for having healing abilities below F rank, so no one wanted such an inept healer to walk around the medical aid station. Raymond understands that in this place, he will not be given the opportunity to take care of the sick. But if he does not cure anyone in these 15 days, then the training in the hospital will be over, so the young man understands that he must do something. Next patient. Instead of waiting for the apple to fall from the tree, he discovers a guy named Hansen who was a student at the hospital. About such students, they usually say neither fish nor meat. The hero approaches the young man and asks if he is tired. Next to the hero, Hansen was just as uncomfortable as next to others, but at least he is the kindest among the students at the first aid station. Raymond turns to him and says that it seems to him that the young man is very busy, so he asks for permission to do cleaning at the emergency room. He doesn't like hanging around while Hansen is working. The hero says that he will take care of patients if there are no healers nearby. For example, he will bandage them or apply medicinal herbs to them. Hansen understands that the older comrades will be angry if they find out that he allowed Raymond to treat patients. However, the hero says that healers sit in their offices most of the time and come out only when new patients arrive, but now there will be no patients, so no one will know. Hansen doesn't want to agree, so the hero gets upset and asks to pretend that nothing happened. Cleaning the point is the most difficult, so if there is no such obligation on your shoulders, then it will be much easier to work. Still, Hansen agrees. While the senior healer was not seen, Raymond was treating people, increasing his experience. Since the tasks were very simple, the hero received only 1 experience point each, but he does not get upset. It's been 3 days since he started working at the first aid station and has already reached level 4. Raymond decides to spend his extra points on perception because the faster his senses are, the more good a surgeon he will become. He believes that if he continues to accumulate experience, one day he will become the best healer in the world and will bathe in luxury. The hero dreams of living in a 5-story mansion with marble floors and eating juicy steaks, as well as drinking the highest quality wine before going to bed. He will never again find himself in a deplorable situation due to lack of money, nor will he tolerate treatment worse than the lowest of the servants. Despite the fact that he was born into a noble family, he always had to hide in corners, living in the most luxurious place, and only have the opportunity to envy others. One of his regular patients was an elderly woman. She said that the hero is very handsome and kind, and also said that she has seen many healers in her lifetime, but the hero is the sweetest of all those she has seen. Raymond says that, of course, he should be nice because it's so upsetting when you're sick and they treat you badly. He experienced it when his mom was sick. The woman says that she was once treated by a healer, and it seems his name was Langs. He was skilled, but with this terrible evil so much that the woman's well-being deteriorated again. When she left, an information window appeared in front of the hero which informs that he was very nice to the patient, so he received the achievement Good Healer, and also his reputation was increased. He also received 5 skill points as a reward. These glasses are needed to obtain and improve the skills of a surgeon. Finally, the working day is over and now there is only cleaning left. The hero had no desire to do this, but he promised Hansen. Raymond even wondered if he should make an effort at all if no one was watching this place. In Liechtenstein, they don't pay too much attention to cleanliness, so it doesn't look like Hansen tried so hard to keep order. However, slapping himself on the cheek, the hero puts his thoughts in order because dirt harms patients, and frequency is the basic rule, so he must endure even if it's hard and finally get out. He motivates himself with what he needs just to imagine his future luxurious life to cheer up, namely beefsteaks every day. Finally, everything was tidied up. The heroes decide that when he becomes successful in the future, he will definitely hire cleaners because now his whole body hurts, and he even thought to increase his stamina. A system window popped up which stated that the hero had cleaned up at first aid station and also received an achievement, an improvement, 10 skill points, and bonus points for excellent work. Now he has access to the purchase of skills in the store where a special offer is valid for the first purchase. For 40 points, he can buy a skill of a unique rank. He is given a choice of 3 skills: Iron Man strength, dexterous hands, and sage thighs. The hero wants to choose everything, but you can only choose one. Suddenly, healers burst into the emergency room. An emergency case was received where the patient vomited blood. Raymond understands that if he vomits blood, then it is very bad and a healer of at least a rank is needed here. Healing is a force that stimulates vital energy, and stimulation of vital energy activates coagulation, but in situations where bleeding is abundant, the effectiveness of such an action decreases. At the Ballon Clinic, only Director Bucks has a rank skills. There are also several B ranks here, but at this rate, the patient will die. There is a technique for performing surgery on such patients, but Raymond cannot perform it because he is only a novice resident, so here you need the title of an experienced resident. Here, the main healer, Langs, comes to the patient who examines him. Director Bex is currently out of town to cure a nobleman. The patient started vomiting blood again, and by chance, drops of blood fell on Lang's hand. He says with disgust that he can't do anything, so the patients must be sent back. After hearing this, the hero wants to try to save him. The healer says that healing is useless here, but Raymond still tries to persuade him to let him try. Langs replies that since the hero is so worried about this person, why not try to cure him on his own? However, the probability of failure is too high. And if something happens to the patient, the hero will be blamed and he will also be expelled from the clinic. A system window appears that informs that an unforeseen quest has begun, the essence of which is to become a caring healer and cure the patient with the help of willpower, despite the low level of skill. So far, the hero has held on with all his hands and feet, so if something goes wrong, then everything will be over for him. He looks at a patient who, dying, asks for help. Raymond can't do anything because it's not in his power, but if no one helps, then the man will just die. The hero understands that he needs to think rationally. That is, even if he tries, nothing will come out, so it would be wiser to just continue to take care of less seriously ill people and in the future find another opportunity to gain experience. Suddenly, the steel heart skill is activated and Raymond begins to possess steel determination and a firm will. He recalls the Hippocratic Oath, which states that the swearing asks to be allowed to practice medicine and solemnly swears to devote his life to the service of humanity. Even if it is akin to the impossible, he cannot abandon a dying person. Raymond asks to be allowed to try to cure this patient. Langs is sure that the hero just went crazy, but still allows him. However, he clarifies so that the hero does not forget to take responsibility for the result later. Other healers leave and the hero remains alone. He is not sure that he will be able to cope alone because it is quite difficult to carry out the operation alone. When suddenly Hansen calls out to him, who offers the young man his help because he also wants this man not to die. The hero feels relieved because now he has an assistant, so he thanks Hansen for his support and help. The situation is urgent, so there is no time to explain. Raymond tells his assistant that you need to prepare a knife boiled in sterile clean water to begin with and then treat it with fire. He also needs a thin thread and disinfect it with medicinal herbs. Hansen doesn't understand why all these things are needed. With the help of a hallucinogen, the hero put the patient to sleep and anesthetized him. Fortunately, he also prepared catgut, that is, a natural absorbable surgical suture material. Raymond had prepared it in advance just in case because it was easy to get since it is used by magicians from the wizard tower. First, you need to disinfect the place on the body where the surgery will be performed. Here the young man begins to cut his skin tissue with a knife, and this scares Hansen very much. Heroes see fat and muscles covered in blood. He knew how to open the abdominal cavity from the knowledge he had gained. However, it was terrible to see it with his own eyes, and as a result, the young man's head empties. The hero begins to shake, but suddenly the skill steel heart is activated, which allows the young man to become more adamant. Raymond thinks about wealth, male, and calms down. He just needs to follow the knowledge of surgery. He must perform a median laparotomy. That is a method of surgical intervention by dissecting the tissues in the area of the anterior abdominal wall. Hansen is just terrified because he doesn't understand what the heroes are doing to the patient and should he stop him. However, he sees the confident look of the hero and does not risk stopping him. Yellow fluid oozes from the duodenum. This is a perforated ulcer, so it is necessary to bind the artery and block the hole. A perforated ulcer is a through defect in the wall of the stomach and duodenum, as in this case with access to the abdominal cavity or retroperitoneal space. Here, the hero asks Hansen to lift one red organ. The young man is surprised, but still helps the hero. Now you need to cut out the perforation area with a scalpel. The hands of the young man do not obey at all. And at this rate, the operation will end very badly, so the hero decides to buy the skilled dexterous hands of the surgeon. Good stamina and intelligence are undoubtedly important, but more importantly, they are able to save the patient. He uses the skill and his perception increases from 6 to 16 and the fingertips become more substantial. Of course, it's still a little unusual, but the hero moves gracefully really and the feeling that he lacks something. He asks Hansen for a threat because first he needs to tie the artery and stop the bleeding. Now you need to close the hole in the duodenum. Then you need to take the tongue of the momentum of a suitable size and block the perforation of the intestine with it, applying nodal sutures. And finally, it remains only to check the vagus nerve, which is associated with the secretion of gastric acid, and also remove the spread gastric juice with clean water, and finally, do not sew it up. The operation is over. The hero got his first experience in abdominal surgery. He received the achievement of the father surgeon, that is, the discoverer of surgery for future generations. The hero also received a lot of skill points and a bonus to level up. Suddenly, his legs give way and he falls, and tears begin to flow from his eyes. Finally, he did it, cured the patient. After a while, the chief healer learns that Raymond did a good job and cured a patient who vomited blood. He couldn't believe his ears because it's impossible, so he decides to make sure of everything personally.